Sup guys, it's Alex here and welcome to a new Bracketology update. This one, as you can see from the title of the video, is for March 4th. Joe Lunardi filed it last night on March 3rd, but I mean he filed it at like 11, so that's why I'm recording this video tomorrow and naming it March 4th. But after another crazy weekend of college basketball, Joe Lunardi has released his newest Bracketology, and this is for, I guess, it's on a Monday or whatever, so I don't know if he's going to be doing it daily. If he's doing it daily, you guys will be seeing daily uploads from me. I'm going to be doing an update every time he updates it, so make sure you stay subscribed and hit those post notifications to be alerted whenever he uploads a new one, and then I'll be making the Brackify for it. So hopefully he starts doing it daily. I can't wait for it. I love this time of year of March Madness with the conference tournament starting up for a couple of like the smaller conferences, and then the final week of the regular season and finishing up for the rest of the major conferences. And before I get started too much, I just want to say thank you guys for all the support on my recent videos. I don't know what that advertisement's doing right there, but I am now up to 2,438 subscribers. And if you guys have been watching my videos, you know that at 2,500 subscribers, if I get there by March 15th, which it's looking like it's going to happen, I'll be giving away a second NCAA tournament ticket. And I've been, I'll go ahead and pull that up for you guys right there. I've been recording all of your guys' entries and stuff like that. You can see your names and stuff like that. And just if you see your name highlighted in yellow, and for the people who aren't highlighted in yellow, that's not anything special or whatever. That's just like on Instagram, it doesn't show their full name, so I'm going to have to go in and research the full name. That's what the yellow means. Doesn't mean anybody's getting preferential treatment and stuff like that. But yeah, these are all the entries. These are all the favorite teams and tournament locations. If you see your name, congratulations, you're entered. And if you don't see your name, make sure you follow the instructions in the description for how to enter and the details and stuff like that. So yeah. We'll go ahead and get into the Bracketology, but before I do that, I just wanted to give a shout out to one of the guys from my high school, Tim Miller. He's an up-and-coming artist. He makes and produces great music. Go ahead and check him out, subscribe to him if you're not already. But yeah, just going to give a quick shout out to him. Timmy, if you're watching this, here's your shout out. Thank you for subscribing if you haven't already. And yeah, let's go ahead and get back into the video. So, as of Joe Lunardi's most recent Bracketology, there's been a couple of movements, which, before I get started, I just wanted to point out this. Why is Washington an 8 seed right there? They just lost to California, who hadn't won a Pac-12 game in like a year. They're like 6-18 or something like that this year, 1-16 in the Pac-12 or something like that. Crazy. I don't know how Washington's an 8 seed. I'm thinking maybe like a 10 for them, but yeah. I'm going to go and show you guys a couple of movements right here. In the East Regional, we got VCU up to a 9. Playing game, Temple and St. John's. St. John's is playing themselves on the wrong side of the bubble right now. I mean, they've been losing to bad teams like Providence, and they just lost to DePaul yesterday. Yale is now down to a 14. Houston remains a 3 after losing at home to UCF on College Game Day. And speaking of UCF, over here in the West Regional, they are now a 9 seed. Congratulations to them. They were in danger of becoming a bubble team there a couple weeks ago, but now they are safely in the tournament. I consider them a lock. Washington, as I mentioned, is now up to an 8, which is so dumb in my opinion. Belmont remains a 12. They're still the Ohio Valley Conference representative instead of Murray State. Virginia Tech is now up to a 4 seed after getting some much-needed love after beating Duke shorthanded. Everybody's saying that Duke got off or is getting off with an excuse because they were missing Zion. Well, I mean, Virginia Tech was missing one of their best players. I think his name is Justin Robinson, Jerome Robinson, something like that. Utah State is now up to an 11, and I'd say safely in the field after beating Nevada over the weekend, or Nevada, however you pronounce it. And Auburn is now up to a 7. Then over here, I'll be going to the Louisville Regional. I'm so excited for that, but I'd much rather see Kentucky in the Louisville Regional than Duke. But yeah, I'll be seeing the Sweet 16 and Elite 8, so I might be vlogging it. Haven't decided, or hopefully will, but I'll be going with my dad. I don't know if we'll be vlogging or not. We'll see what happens. But Iowa and Florida are now down to an 8 and 9 respectively after Iowa lost to Rutgers at home and then Florida lost to Georgia at home. Both are pretty bad losses. Then Nevada is now down to a 5, as I mentioned earlier, after losing to Utah State. Then Georgia Southern is new to the field. Ohio State is now down to a 10, and Wright State is new to the field. And over here in the Midwest Regional, not a whole lot of movement. Arizona State and Seton Hall, the playing game right there. Vermont is now up to a 13. I'd love to see UMBC in over Vermont. They're from the same conference, but we'll see what happens there. Ole Miss is now down to a 10, and then Colgate is now up to a 15. Then for the bubble picture right here, last 4 byes are NC State, TCU, Minnesota, and Alabama. Last 4 in, St. John's, Seton Hall, Arizona State, Temple. First 4 out are Clemson, who just need to keep winning. They had a big chance right there against North Carolina this past weekend, but I think they lost by 2. That would have been a great win for them. St. Mary's, Furman, and Murray State. Next 4 out, Indiana, who I don't know how, but still, they played their way back onto the bubble after beating Wisconsin and Michigan State last week. I don't know. I mean, they might be turning it around. They might not. We'll see what happens with that. Then Xavier, Georgetown, and Creighton, 3 Big East teams filling out the rest right there, with Creighton beating Marquette over the course, or I think it was yesterday at Marquette, so that was a big win for them to put them back on the bubble. And so let's go ahead and get into the bracketology right here. The link for this will be in the description for you guys to go ahead and vote. I think the last one I did for March 1st got over 36,000 votes, which is crazy just for bracketology, not even the actual main tournament. Let's see how many we can get this one to get. And so, yeah, if you're new to the channel, every time bracketology comes out with an update, I make a video on it, and I create an interactive bracket for you guys to go ahead and vote. So make sure you subscribe with post notifications on to be updated and to vote with and make your NCAA tournament predictions known based off of the current bracketology. Without any further ado, let's finally go ahead and get into my picks 6 minutes into the video. Virginia's going to beat the winner of Iona and Norfolk State. I think Baylor would beat VCU. Maryland would beat the winner of Temple and St. John's, which at this point I think would be Temple. And we got LSU beating Lipscomb. I don't think Lipscomb would pull off the upset there. And I'm going to go with Buffalo beating TCU. I think Buffalo should be a 5 seed at this point. They're not getting a whole lot of love there, and I think TCU, I mean, they lost to West Virginia last week. I don't think they're for real. Then Houston, I think, will beat Yale. Louisville will beat Oklahoma. And then Michigan State will beat Loyola Chicago, so I'm going with the chalk there. Then Kentucky will beat Sam Houston State. Syracuse, I think, would beat Texas. Florida State would beat the winner of Arizona State and Seton Hall, which I think would be Arizona State. Then we have Wisconsin beating Vermont. I think Minnesota would pull off the upset here against Mississippi State. I mean, both teams have been pretty inconsistent throughout the year, but I think Richard Pitino, finally gets his first win. I don't know if it's his first win in the tournament, but I'm going to go with Minnesota pulling off the upset there. Then Texas Tech, I think, would beat South Dakota State. Cincinnati would beat Ole Miss, and then North Carolina would beat Colgate. Gonzaga will beat the winner of that play-in game right there. Then we have UCF. I think we'll definitely beat Washington right there, no doubt about it. Then I'm going to go with another upset pick here. I'm going to go with Belmont. If you guys have been following me throughout the course of the season, you know I like Iowa State, but they've been kind of been inconsistent recently. I don't really know who they are as a team or who's their go-to guy besides Shayok and stuff like that if he gets into trouble. And they just can't, it seems like they can't beat teams that are lower than them, if that makes sense. But I really like Belmont. I think they're one of the best at-large teams at this point. I like Belmont right there. And Virginia Tech will beat Hofstra. Villanova will lose to Utah State. I'm going to go with another upset pick here. Utah State just beat Nevada, or whatever you want to call it. And Villanova's kind of been struggling. I know they just beat Marquette last week. But I think Utah State will pull off the upset here. I know not a lot of people know too much about them. I'm going to have them go upsetting Villanova. Then we have Kansas beating UC Irvine. I think Auburn will beat NC State. Whoever wins that game will lose to Michigan. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that right now. Duke will beat Campbell. Then I honestly don't know who would win this matchup between Iowa and Florida. I'm going to go with Iowa because, I mean, they do have a couple of big wins. They've been playing tons of close games. And, I mean, Florida doesn't have – they have that road win over LSU. But, I mean, besides that, they don't really have any good quality wins. And we have Nevada beating New Mexico State. Marquette beating Old Dominion. Kansas State, I think, would beat Alabama. Then we got Purdue beating Southern. Wofford will beat Ohio State. And then Tennessee would beat Wright State. Then for a spot in the Sweet 16, we got Virginia beating Baylor. LSU at Nas Reed beating Bruno Fernando in Maryland. Then we got Houston beating Buffalo, then Michigan State beating Louisville and getting revenge for beating them earlier in the season. Kentucky will beat Syracuse. Then we have, I think Florida State would get the victory here over Ethan Happ and Wisconsin. Wisconsin just hasn't really been showing me much these past couple weeks, and I like Florida State in that matchup. Then we got Texas Tech beating Minnesota and UNC beating Cincinnati. I think North Carolina has a strong chance for a 1 seed at this point. Then Gonzaga, I think, will beat UCF. Then we have, I'm going to go with Virginia Tech. If they can get Justin Robinson back, I don't know if he's going to be back in time for the tournament, which if he's not, I might pick Belmont to move on to the Sweet 16 as a mini Cinderella right there. But since I don't know if he's going to be back or not, I'm going to go with Virginia Tech winning that matchup. Then Kansas, I think, would beat Utah State. Michigan would beat Auburn, though that'd be a good football game to see. Then we got Duke beating Iowa. Marquette with Marcus Howard, I think they live and die by Marcus Howard, which, I mean, he had a good game, but the rest of the team did not. And they ended up losing to Creighton. But Nevada also lost to Utah State. So, I mean, pick and choose what you will. I'm going to go with Marquette. And then we got Purdue beating Kansas State. Tennessee beating Wofford. I'd love to see Wofford win in this matchup. I hate Tennessee. I'm a Kentucky fan. But props to them. They destroyed us this past weekend. I can go with Tennessee. They look pretty impressive. That first spot in the Elite Eight, Virginia and LSU. As much as I want to pick LSU and as much as I don't want to pick Virginia just based off of their history in the NCAA tournament, I got to go with Virginia there. I think they're a much better team at this point, especially defensively. I think that'll be like a 60-55 game. Then we have Michigan State beating Houston. Kentucky, I think, would beat Florida State. Then I think that North Carolina would beat Texas Tech. Gonzaga, I think, would beat Virginia Tech. Then Kansas and Michigan. I'm going to go with Michigan winning this matchup. Kansas is going to be shorthanded. Though I could see them beating Michigan, I think Michigan gets the job done here, and they move to the Elite Eight. Then here in the South Regional, I get to see this game, Duke and Marquette. I think Zion will be back in time for this, but even if he's not, I think Duke will be able to shut down Marquette, and I think they're just a more talented team and have more depth and stuff like that. I'm going to go with Duke winning that matchup. Then Purdue and Tennessee. Purdue lives and dies by Carson Edwards' performances, which, I mean, they do have like Matt Harms and stuff like that, but I think they're too one-player focused. I'm going to go with Grant Williams, Admiral Schofield, Jordan Bone, and the SEC representative Tennessee. Then went at first spot in the Final Four, Virginia and Michigan State. I'm going to go with Michigan State winning this matchup. They've been proven that they can win, even without Joshua Langford and Nick Ward and all of them. They just beat Michigan on the road a couple games ago, even though they just lost to Indiana. But I'm going to put them going to the Final Four over Virginia. Then I think Kentucky will beat North Carolina just like they did earlier in the season, though it all depends on whether Reed Travis is going to be back in time for this, which I'm assuming he will. He's supposed to be back in time for the conference tournament, but if he's not, I might pick North Carolina in that matchup. But we saw what happened with the full-strength Kentucky team versus a full-strength North Carolina team. I'm going to go with Kentucky moving on. Then I think that Gonzaga would beat Michigan. Then Duke, I think, would beat Tennessee. Then for a spot in the national championship game, Kentucky and Michigan State. I think Kentucky's depth and size are just going to overwhelm Michigan State right there, especially if Nick Ward's not back in time. Then Duke and Gonzaga. They played earlier this season. I'm going to go, I don't know. It all depends on whether Zion's back in time. But I'm going to go with Gonzaga here. I think that they're going to beat Duke just like they did earlier this season. Then in the national championship, I think this was my championship for last video, Kentucky and Gonzaga. But I'm changing my national champion. I'm going with Gonzaga right there. Kentucky just... I don't know, especially if Reed Travis isn't back, but he should be. I like Gonzaga there. They're a more complete team. They're very experienced. They have great team chemistry. They got a superstar in Rui Hachimura. I think that they're going to get the victory there. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to like and subscribe if you are new. Make sure to enter that NCAA tournament ticket giveaway if you haven't already. I'll be messaging the winners and stuff like that and making the video where I show my live picks and stuff like that. On March 15th, which right now it's March 4th, as you can see right there. So make sure you enter if you haven't already. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all later.